Right, great. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of the public, officers, and welcome to Hythe Dibden Parish Council meeting for July. Can I have a few moments silence to compose ourselves ready to discuss tonight's agenda, please? Okay, that'll do. Right, can I have apologies, please? Do we have any? No apologies. Okay, what I'd like to do before we start, members, is for the benefit of our audience, is to go through all of you, and I'd like you to say, as I give you your name, that you are present, please. Okay. Right, Mark Clark.
Present.
Rebecca Clark.
Present.
Sean Cullen.
You're just joining, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Sandra Delamere.
Present.
Philip Dowd.
Present.
Matthew Kitcher.
Present, Chairman.
Simon Lodge.
Chairman, present.
Stephanie Osborne.
Present.
Melody Roberts.
Present.
Alex Wade.
Present.
Sean Cullen. You got to say present. Thank you. Al Fairhead.
Present.
And myself, Malcolm Wade, as a chairman. Thank you very much, members. You remember to use the RTS when you wish to speak. Okay. I don't think we have any apologies. So we're going to go to item 2, declarations of interest and dispensations. To note any declaration of interest made by members in connection with an agenda item. Members to specify what the nature is. Do I have any? Have we received any, in fact, Tracy?
No, I haven't received any.
No written ones. And does any member have any verbal request for that? Therefore, we don't need to grant any requests for dispensation.
Chairman, before you move on, I noted the other day there was a thing came up I saw in local media about Blue Marine. Is that on the agenda as planning?
I don't think it is, actually.
Okay.
But, okay. Okay, right. Item 3 is the community safety update. Unfortunately, Inspector Andrews is unable to join us, but she's asked Sergeant Amanda Allen to write out a presentation, which I'm afraid I'm going to have to read out to you. So you're going to get fed up with my voice after a little while. I'll do my best to be slow and concise. Here's a brief bullet point summary of the activity of the Waterside Neighbourhood Police Team have been engaged in since the COVID-19 restrictions. PCSOs have held 3 online beat surgeries answering questions posed by residents of the Waterside, mainly around COVID-19 legislation. There have been 4 safe at home beat surgeries in supermarkets. This was a proactive attempt to reach out to those who may not be able to seek help and support whilst in lockdown, i.e. those experiencing sad domestic abuse. We've been engaged, explained and encouraged members of our communities to comply with lockdown rules and restrictions, especially when lockdown started and the restrictions were significant. This included sending letters to addresses where suspected breaches were occurring. We enforced when it was absolutely necessary and a proportionate way in the circumstances. We continue to have a visible presence out and about in our communities on foot, on our bikes and in our vehicles, ensuring as many residents as possible saw us and had an opportunity to speak if they wished. We have responded to community concerns regarding antisocial behaviour in Hainesway Rec and Oak Road Car Park were a particular problem. The neighbourhood police team obtained a S35 dispersal order for a 48-hour period, which has resolved the issues for now. The PCSOs held a street meeting with Councillor Wade, who has agreed additional longer-term measures that are to be amended. That was me. Right. The team have kept the residents of Waterside up to date with regular social media posts on both Facebook and Twitter. We have continued to engage with those young people living in our area who are deemed to be at risk of child sexual exploitation and child criminal exploitation. We have continued to monitor and proactively encourage a high risk domestic abuse perpetrators to engage in diversionary behaviour programs and sought to promote Clare's Law, which is the domestic abuse disclosure scheme, to help those at risk of being a victim of domestic abuse to make informed choices to safeguard themselves and their dependents. We are proactive in disrupting those who are exposing our community to drug-related harm. In conjunction with our colleagues from Tottenham Neighbourhood Police Team, we have executed 2 successful drug warrants on one day and continue to gather information and intelligence regarding other persons and properties with a view to further warrants in the near future. Throughout lockdown, we have continued to police the community, striving to ensure that as best we could, we maintained business as usual. We clapped with you all every Thursday to thank NHS colleagues for everything they do. Kind regards, Amanda. I think that was quite a comprehensive response by the police. It's a shame they can't be here, which we can compliment them for what they did. And members, I think it appropriate that we reply to them, thanking them for their efforts. Do you all agree with that?
Mr. Chairman, may I just make a point that
Certainly.
it would be nice to encourage them to actually show up next time so that we can all question them.
Yeah, I think we did ask, we did try, but I asked for Tracy to answer. I believe they didn't have the technology to answer, which is a bit odd. Is that right, Tracy?
Yeah, they don't have access to Zoom.
One of a lot of the police communication networks are, by the very nature of their activities, controlled and specific, and they probably don't use Zoom. We'll have to do it some other way. But hey, all being well, it won't be long before we have more live meetings, I suppose. Did you want to mention anything else, Mark? You got RTS there.
Sorry,
Right,
no,
so-
Mr. Chairman, it was just an inquiry as to, maybe asking them to show up, but I understand technology beat them, so there we are.
Well, it's not Dixon of Dot Green anymore. No, but yeah, okay. No, well, I do think we should. You all agreed that we should thank them for the presentation and their efforts. Do you all agree with that? Thank you very much. Can we do that, Tracy? Write to them, thanking them, please, for their doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 4 is the minutes. To consider the minutes and confirm the minutes of the virtual meeting the council held on the 25th of June. And if you go to pages 5 to 10, I have a hard copy here, which I will read out the page number, and if you've got any queries, please say. Page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, and page 9, and page 10. Are you all agreed that that is a true record of the last meeting? Can I have some show of hands, please? Is that unanimous? Okay. Well, I will virtually sign those meetings minutes if you put upon an expression. And now, the next thing is the chairman's announcements, which is me again. Okay, the first thing, as you are aware, members, Councillor David Marston, for personal reasons, has resigned. And I think it appropriate if we write to him, thanking him for his efforts on behalf of the council during his period of office. Are you all in agreement that we do that? Okay, thank you very much. Right, I've got a number of, just a few chairman's announcements. Haynes Way, to which the police referred to. On the morning of the 18th of July, members of the local neighbourhood policing team and a group of Hythe Dibden councillors attended a joint meeting at Haynes Way with property owners of Haynes Way in order to discuss the recent antisocial behaviour experienced at Haynes Way and the gathering of use once the adjoining Lodeway play area is closed. After discussions with the local residents, councillors attending the event felt that the best course of action was to erect a bow-top fence around the open space to prevent access to the green by members of the public after 6 p.m. The council would then seek a bylaw so the police can remove anyone uses the area after that time. We are proposing to erect a 120 metres of security fence around the noseway to strengthen the existing boundary and prevent access. Both costs and designs of a suitable fence for the green area at Haynes Way and security fencing noseway are being sought, and a full report will be presented to the council at the August meeting for us to decide, confirm, or that's what we want to do. In the meantime, the police will continue to monitor the area and take any action required to prevent a repeat of the recent antisocial behaviour until the ACSO recruitment is completed and they can pick up that mantle. Memorial Garden. Following the decision of the council to construct a memorial garden with the grounds of the Grove, the investigations into this project have begun. The transfer of the Grove Garden is not yet been completed, and an officer from NFDC is looking into this. In a bid to get land transferred, a number of bench manufacturers have been approached so that the design for the benches can be incorporated into the final garden design. Members indicated that they would like local children to produce a design, as a number of summer activities, along with the Handy Trust drop-in sessions, will no longer be taking place over the summer holidays. It would seem the best way to proceed with this project is via social media. A local landscape gardener designer has been approached, and they have indicated it will be possible to transfer any design submitted by a child into a working design. That would allow the construction of the garden and could be used as part of the planning application or any tendering process that may be required. A report will be presented to the council when further information is available. ACSOs. Due to the COVID-19 recruitment of 2 ACSOs were delayed. Now that we are slowly returning to normal and with the relaxation of social distancing and public building opening, we're now able to commence this, and will be interviewing potential candidates at the end of August with a view to them undertaking their training induction, which will hopefully be out in the parish at the beginning of the autumn. Another hot off the press item, members, as we mentioned earlier, Councillor Marshland resigned. There can be no by-elections until May 2020. The government has made that pronouncement. But 10 members of the public in Butsash decided that they wanted to have a by-election and have written to the district council therefore. It's a bit strange really, because in this period in time where we should be concentrating not on politics but on dealing with the local pandemic, the national pandemic, international pandemic, and dealing that, we think people should be focused on that, because we could have co-opted somebody with no charge. The by-election will cost us between £2,000 and £2,500, which is an extra cost that local government and the ratepayers of Hythe Dibden didn't need, when we could have sorted it out with a co-option with no cost. But we are where we are. I'm a great believer in democracy and elections and so forth, but as we can't have one for a number of months, a co-option will be the better option, because at the moment the people of Butsash are underrepresented by being a councillor down. But I know that you, my 11 colleagues, will make up the difference as the council operates and do a sterling job, even though our numbers are reduced. And that, members, are...
Mr. Chairman, you've got an RTS from Philip.
I've got that, yeah, I'm coming to that. That is my my announcements. And I have an RTS from Mark, and then I have I have an RTS from Philip. Over to you, Philip.
Mine was from the previous agenda item and it's gone now, so we'll forget that one.
Okay. Well, we are going to talk ACSOs later, so there might be an opportunity there. Okay, the next item is reports by county and district councillors. Councillor McAvoy has sent in a very comprehensive written report. I hope you've all seen it. I recognise it because it's cut and paste from the county briefings that we have every other day. I have a very short report. I'm sorry for me again. I'm just trying to find out where I've put it, because there's lots of bits of paper here. Here we go. Okay, I will go first. The Hampshire County Council report to the Parish Council. The Council waits to see what support the government will give local governments as the Chancellor has launched the 2020 Comprehensive Spending Review, CSR. The review, which will be published in the autumn, will set out the government spending plans for the Parliament. The CSR will be for a 3-year period for resource budgets 2021 to 22, 23 to 24, and a 4-year period for capital budgets 21 to 22 and 24 to 25. Hampshire County Council meetings are now taking place, and I attended the Children and Young People Select Committee on the 8th of July, where we discussed the impact of CV-19 has had on the children's social care. Across March and April, they completed 18,367 childcare visits. 85% in March were in person, and in April they completed 47% in person, with the rest virtual assessments. All in all, during this crisis, the service has continued to carry on to the same high standard it has prior to CV-19. The Corporate Parenting Board virtual meetings I've had with social workers and looked after children have shown the personal proof how well the staff have continued to work during these challenging times. We also discussed a minor change to post-16 transport policy, which is a much better result for the children and their parents than was proposed and objected to by myself and my Lib Dem colleagues on the committee. On the 16th, we had a virtual council meeting with the highlight was the medium-term financial strategy. Even after the government handout to local government, the county council underfunded costs and losses are in the region of £103 million. The future looks bleak, with the £40.2 million annual gap pre-COVID still holding true, plus all the losses from the crisis itself. So without considerable government funding in addition to the council tax and business rate support, the council will be considered to be not financially viable. Personally, I've had a very busy time helping out local people and dealing with the challenges of the current crisis. In addition to the site meet at Haynes Way, which I already mentioned, it was a good meeting and we got a potential solution. Today I was due to attend the Hampshire County Council Strategic Planning meeting to speak against the application variation 16 on Forest Lodge Farm Quarry to add another 5 items of heavy duty plant to the operation on behalf of local residents, some of whom have to live 35 metres from the quarry itself. However, it has been deferred until September, so I will be addressing that meeting instead. That is my report, ladies and gentlemen. I now go to the district councillors, and looking at my screen, the first one I see is Sandra.
Thank you, Chairman. Just busy unmuting. I've been to, at home for several virtual meetings of the district council, namely the actual district council full meeting, and the district council's set up 4 recovery task and finish groups, and myself and Malcolm and Philip are on the finance, which is considering what effect COVID's going to have on the district's budget, where they can make savings. So we'll keep you posted on that. Also, private sector housing task and finish group, where I asked a question about during COVID, the lockdown, housing were able to house all but 2 who refused to come indoors of the homeless people, but happened to them in the hotels and so on reopen, and I was assured that none of them would be back on the streets. And we have further details on that at another meeting shortly. And lastly, corporate overseeing scrutiny panel. That was yesterday, and it was largely about broadband, fast-speed broadband provision in the forest. Trying to do about, there's some really hard to reach areas of the forest, and I'll talk about the funding and so on. So that's ongoing as well. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Next is Councillor Mark Clark, please.
Councillor, sorry, Mr. Chairman, I have submitted a written report, which I'm happy to just pass on to save time, if you like. Apart from just an update to that report, is simply the Task and Finish group met today about the leisure centres and the gradual reopening of the leisure centres, including the gym and the pool area, and the measures put in place by the New Forest District Council on social distancing measures. There was also a presentation today on operational matters and how the council has managed its maintenance bracket. But the only issue that remains of concern, I suppose, in terms of the health and leisure centres is the ongoing work towards the privatisation of these functions, which we are exploring in the scrutiny committee and continue to have major worries about in the light of the continuing pandemic.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Thank you, Chairman. As I'm sure Councillor Wade can also testify, there's been many months and paperwork have led up to the Fawley Waterside planning application. And as a member of the planning committee, we met on Monday. And as most people will have seen in the news, it was almost unanimously voted. Well, it was voted in favour almost unanimously. So that's been a very long process. Clearly the District Council and the New Forest National Park have worked with the applicant over many months, so that any particular things that needed to be mitigated against were all dealt with in the application. So it's been a really interesting process, and obviously there's a lot more to come. It was just the outline permission, but obviously more detailed planning will come forward, and hopefully some really great infrastructure projects for all sorts of green friendly transport up and down the waterside. That bit I find most exciting. I'm hoping that will unlock some exciting things for our area. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Stephanie Osborne. You're muted.
Yeah, I've got nothing to report on this month.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Philip Dowd.
Thank you, Chairman. In spite of the constraints due to C19, the Waste Strategy Working Group has continued to meet. Other constraints of the delay in the government's coordinated national response, giving clear guidelines for what will be expected, and the uncertainties around the county. Nevertheless, the report will be sent for Cabinet approval. This covers waste collection. I'm continuing to push for more to be done regarding reducing, reusing and other ways of recycling, looking at good practice in leading EU neighbours. The whole issue needs to be considered in the round. The Wade Dow Double Act will soon be joining the new Greener Housing Working Group in due course. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Alex Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. Firstly, the local plan was discussed at full council earlier this month. It was voted through by the vast majority of the council, despite concerns aired about sites in Lymington and obviously the well publicised one in Fawley. This was, I hasten to add, prior to the planning discussion this week. Although the plan was voted through, there was an amendment put in place where they would have removed a site near Pennington, or at least delayed it up for discussion, to which I and many of my Liberal Democrat colleagues supported. However, that was voted against, and following that, I, along with the majority of the council, did vote through the local plan. It is very important this local plan goes through for housing which we need in our community. That's absolutely not in doubt. However, we desperately need homes for young people and young families especially. However, the issue I have, as with many of my colleagues and many members of the public, is a genuine lack of pre-planned infrastructure around these developments, such as doctor surgeries, parks, cycleways, safe pedestrian areas, and better public transport provision. The main impact for us in our part of the world is on the A326, as has been heavily discussed by many people this week, and that is the one that's the real concern, and that's why I have reservations, like many of my colleagues, on Fawley Waterside development. in its current format. On the electoral review, the Boundary Commission have come back to New Forest District Council with a proposal to having 2 wards of 3 councillors in Hythe and Dibden from 2023 onwards, when we reduce the authority to 48 councillors. I've raised my views alongside my fellow councillors that we feel is not best reflective of of the representation of our community, and have suggested alternatives. We do accept and completely agree with the loss of 1 councillor for our area, as other larger areas face similar impact, and will also see numbers reduced. There is a new website for New Forest District Council, and it is quite impressive, I have to say. It's gone live over recent weeks, so please let us councillors and the authority directly know your views. The aim has been clearer and more user-friendly. In particular, the planning areas are much, much easier to read, I have to say. And on further impact on customers, there is a new number. The 02380 285 588 number will disappear from August the 3rd, with new contact information to be released by the council. Customers will be advised to direct dial council departments moving forward. On council funding, it remains a precarious position, I'm afraid, for the authority, and its funding continues to be a major issue with all task and finish groups, as previously discussed by my colleagues. However, there does seem to be no current willingness to review any assets that could reduce that have no reduction impact on services, and by reviewing those assets now, and ones that don't link to stuff that our valued residents value, then we could look at possibly making some revenue there ahead of the likely cuts that we will see due to the wider issues. Opposition councillors have asked for a review of assets to support vital service, but this has not been agreed. Revenue from closed leisure centres and forecasted revenue and costs over the next few months does remain a concern. And lastly, again, it's been quite a busy and diverse month with casework, as I'm sure it's been for all councillors, and Councillor Clark has shared the news on the leisure centres. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Right, members, that's me again. I want to start off with the planning meeting that we had on Monday. It was a lively discussion, and the debate lasted over 5 hours. Now, Councillor Clark rightly said there were some very big positives in the application, and actually the development itself is very attractive, and it looks like it will be bringing extra housing, employment opportunities. It looks quite good, but there's a but. In defence of our residents who will face the A36 now with traffic congestion, there will be 13,500 extra vehicle movements daily down that road. And no improvements apart from the modifications to the roundabout are projected. I had no choice but therefore to vote against it, because it will affect the quality of life for our residents, and it will turn the A326 into the biggest free car park in Hampshire. There is discussion about a future let money to dual some of the A326 north of Dibden roundabout. Okay, but that's not a given, right? There was no strategic transport plan for a sustainable green transport policy by getting people out of cars in buses, on the railway line, and indeed working with Hythe Ferry, having a ferry from the development either to join with Hythe Ferry or across waterborne transport. There is no thought other than bunging a few quid to change the roundabouts, and the modifications to roundabouts are dangerous for cyclists, in my belief. The problem that they don't understand is the majority of traffic works on the north to south, south to north axis. And these roundabouts with the filter lanes is to take traffic off the A326 when the majority of it's going to be going down it anyway, right? But it's so the whole plethora of reasons why I really wanted to support it, and I actually said, can you defer it until you've sorted out the transport issues, because it's a good development. But no, no, the officers weren't any good at that, weren't keen on that one, and it was not supported. And therefore, in defence of our residents, and it's all about quality of life, and the quality of life, protecting the quality of life for people that live here now, the people who live in Fawley, people who live in Hythe and Dibden, and indeed the people who will be in this development. Excuse me, do they really want to spend a lot of time queuing every morning and every evening going up and down the A326? No, they don't. There needs to be a more broader transport strategy, and we must continue to fight for that. In addition to this, I attended with the chairman of planning a briefing by Solent Gateway on their future plans for Marshall Military Port, and the chief NSC planning officer was there. Their plans will give a significant increase in the port activities, and with the resulting impact on local infrastructure. Not to mention what APB are going to do as and when they try to develop Dibden Bay for cars. I attended the waste and strategy task meeting with Councillor Dowd, and he's already mentioned that, so I won't go on about that. The next finance and resources task and finish group, to which Councillor Delamere said, is tomorrow afternoon. And we'll see how NFDC is going to deal with the ongoing and post-COVID environment in regard to its finances. Thank you, members. Excuse me. Next item is report from members serving on outside bodies. Do we have any? Who's that? Councillor Osborne.
Sorry, I've got new equipment here. Yes, I started on the outside body working for the Dibden's allotment charity. Is that the sort of thing you want to hear about?
Yeah, by all means, yeah.
So at that meeting, a new chairman was voted. In actual fact, it was returning chairman Alan, I wrote his name down here.
Alvey.
Alan Alvey, that's right. And the vice chairman was Jill Tomlins. There was various allocations of money which all sounded excellent, ideas, especially for the recovery of the COVID thing without too many restrictions for people as well, to be able to access things like school uniform, and various other applications that were for the good of the community. So I'm quite enjoying doing it so far, although I wasn't allowed to vote this time. So basically, I've been on ongoing communications with the local police on the antisocial behaviour going on, and as Councillor Wade said, we've had quite a good reaction to it, and we're looking into various things that are working, it appears, at the moment, so it's all looking quite good. Thank you.
Thank you. I now have Councillor Dowd. Philip, the floor's yours.
Thank you, Councillor. This is something that isn't currently up and running, but we're hoping it's going to be started very soon. There used to be a network group in the waterside area. Volunteer and charity organisations have been hit hard over the last few months. For some getting started again, it's going to be very hard work. With the cuts in funding to local services, it's more important than ever that scarce support and resources are used effectively. I'm currently working with Trevor Hanmore to get the network of local community youth workers going again. Plans were consolidating just before lockdown began. We hope to have our first meeting very soon. Thank you.
Well done, that's good. We used to have a youth group that met after the Handy Trust meetings, and that is really good to get everybody in. Councillor Sandra Delamere, you're next.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I've attended virtual meetings of Age Concerned New Forest, and I'd just like to report that they seem to be weathering the COVID crisis well. Finances aren't too bad, and the shops have reopened. I think they were some of the first to reopen, and they've got all the necessary restrictions in place, one-way systems and so on. And yeah, they seem to be doing very well. Thank you.
Okay. Now it's Councillor Matthew Kitcher, please.
Thank you, Chairman. It was just to say that everyone knows I sit on the board of trustees for the Handy Trust. In recent weeks, we have got a fantastic new website that, if you get a chance, please do check it out. It hits a lot of issues that I think we were having with people not being able to know who we are as a charitable organisation and the work we do out in the community. It's brand new. The handle is www.thehandytrust.co.uk. So if you get a chance, please just check it out and let us know what you think. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Melody Roberts, please. You're muted.
Just wanted to report on Dibden Allotment Fund, the meeting for July, and we've been concentrating on school uniform, as Steph said, 4 years 6 to 7 and onwards for new school uniform, and lots of parents through furlough, redundancy, etc., have really felt the pinch. and hundreds of pounds for branded uniform is very difficult for lots of people. Therefore, each school has been given £1,000 to allocate as required. Also, the Handy Trust and other charities have asked for help for school holiday meals, which was granted, and we are continuing with the individual requests for private help, which obviously we can't go into. So we're still working hard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members, and thank you for all your hard work in the community in your various activities. Okay, the next item 8 is the public forum. We have one question, which I will read out from Mr. Frank Saul. Is that right? Okay. It is regrettable that there has been a long gap in the role of the ASOs in the parish. What is the current update regarding the recruitment of replacement? What vision for this role does the council hold? What is the job description, and who will be supervising any successful applicants? Okay. Well, as mentioned earlier in my chairman's announcements, we are moving into towards the interview phase. Okay, in which case we hope to be doing them towards the end of August, which is the prerequisite for them being recruited. So their arrival is still on track for happening in this calendar year. What vision for this role does the council hold? And I'm going to say something. If anybody wants to challenge that or say different, please do. We want our ACSOs to follow the model that we had previously as ACSOs that engage with the young people. We're not bringing in policemen to dish out tickets. We're bringing in a proactive service that will work with young people, work with the parents, work with the youth organisations, and work with the police to try and prevent things going wrong, and to try and guide and encourage the young people of our community to do the right thing and to be involved in positive things. So our vision is a positive role for them, engaging with the young people, but also they will be able to collect intelligence for the police. And they will have that ability with them, and they will work closely with the police. And I know the police can't wait for us to get them on board to help them in what they've got to do. The job description is actually too long for me to go through at this juncture. I don't know whether Mr. Saul wants to see a copy of the job description. Well, I think if I asked Tracy, we could possibly send him one if he wanted to. And who will be supervising any successful applicants? We are actually recruiting for 2 roles. We're recruiting for an ACSO plus an ACSO non-com, or non-commissioned officer, if I may use the military term. But one of the roles will supervise the other, but both of them will be ACSOs on the ground. Do you want to add anything to that, Tracy, as the answer to that?
Yeah, no, that's fine. And then I think they sort of report into the officers, into the clerk, and then into the council.
Yeah, they will report into the normal command structure. Now I've got some RTSs here. I think the first one is Alan.
Thank you, Chairman. A little bit of good news just by and by. The other day I was contacted by a friend from Blackfield who had concerns about her brother's residency and neighbours in Marchwood. She wanted some information on what they could do. I phoned our local police. The guy I spoke to, I won't put out names, said he'd look into it. 3 hours later, he phoned me back to say he'd been there, seen the residents, found the name of the guy who was causing the problems, been to see him and his parents. The problem was all solved and the residents were happy. And I've been notified since by a couple of the residents of their thanks to me. But the thanks should go to the police for their quick response to it. And I congratulate them for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mark Clark, please. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to say, we've got a member of the public that's just about to join us. If you want to introduce Leanne Trimble.
Yeah. I believe she is keen about item 12, unless somebody corrects me. That's one about the play areas. She wants to witness that debate. Is that right, Tracy?
I believe so.
Yeah, okay. And one final point on the ACSOs, we want to provide the service that we had before that dealt with the things the police didn't have time to do. And it will be our service to look after the people of Hythe and Dibden. Okay, I think that is probably as comprehensive an answer we can give to that question. And we have no more members of the public questions. So we move on to item 9, which is the planning committee. So Alex Wade, councillor, to receive and delegate decisions of the planning committee. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And first, once again, I would like to thank all of the members of the planning committee for sending in their comments, as we have been doing it virtually, and sending them to me as Chairman of Planning at the agreed deadline to send to NFDC. I want to pay my respect and thanks to the officers and the councillors once again. So if we just go through the pages for this month's planning, pages 11 to 13, I'll go through them one by one, and if you have any comments or challenges, please let me know. Okay, page 11, page 12, page 13, and that is it. Do we have any issues with regards to the comments and decisions made by this planning committee? I will take the silence as confirmed. So I propose those minutes as signed and agreed by the council, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Right, members, we now go to item 10, which is the business risk and insurance. Which one of our officers is going to take us through this report, please? Sean.
Yeah, very briefly, members. You're required by audit to review your business risks and your insurance policy for the year. Take the business risk part first. We have 2 risk assessments in the council. One is, we call it the corporate risk assessment, which is the risk assessment we're considering tonight, and we have another one for all our health and safety at work issues. It must be noted that the internal audit we had this year, the auditor confirmed that this council has sound corporate risk assessments in place, so that's reassuring to know. There is I can't remember what page it is. The corporate risk assessment starts on page
15.
Well done.
So I've got it open.
Yeah, 15. And that looks at the risks that this council faces as we see them as officers and members. Everything's been mitigated, and we're fairly confident that we're protected and we've assessed every risk. Those risks, when circumstances change, those risks are reconsidered again, and they are at the very least reviewed annually prior to this meeting. So they're constantly reviewed and updated when necessary. Moving on to the insurance, members will remember that we renegotiated our insurance policy at the start of the year, and this was reported to members at that point. A couple of significant changes, well, not significant, but changes to last year. As part of my duties, I had the Grove and the Parish Hall re-evaluated for insurance purposes. So what they are the rebuild costs of the building. The Grove had appreciated significantly, so as a result, it's now insured for 2.3 or just over 2.3 million. So very shrewd buy, those members who were here at that time when they bought this.
I remember it well.
Absolutely. The Parish Hall decreased a little bit, but I think it was probably over-insured before. And just as a flag up really to members, I intend to get the workshop revalued in this financial year, as well as Clayfields, because we're still responsible for the actual structure of the building. So hopefully we won't be too far out, but I'll report that back when the results are in. And just to confirm that the play equipment that you asked me to insure is still insured. Okay. So
thank you.
The policy's there for members. Any questions, I'm happy to take them, but we are soundly covered.
Thank you very much. Members, have you got any questions for Sean or comments you want to make? Okay, well, I would like to say I think that the officers have done an excellent job and continue to do an excellent job to produce documents like this, which do cover all our risks, and the insurers are happy about it. So we can't ask for more than we've got here. Do we have to officially agree this, don't we, Tracy? By a vote?
You have to say that, yeah, agree that you've noted it, really.
Don't we have to, because I notice it says here, just to agree, consider and agree the business. Do we have to have a vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm going to call out your name members one at a time.
Chairman, you have an RTS from Alex before
Oh,
we go
sorry.
to a vote.
Alex. My
It was just
apologies.
mainly quickly, just to echo your sentiments, Chairman. Every year, the office is doing an excellent job, and this year has been an incredible job, as I say, with the financial side of things, the insurance review, and it is such a challenging task. And to be in a position where we are given such positive feedback, many councils aren't. I think it's very encouraging for this council and all our assets as a parish council of the high, with a higher budget than many others. And a wide range of assets we have to look after. I really appreciate the good work of our officers. So thank you once again.
Right, thank you. Well, I'll propose that we agree the business risk and insurance. Can I have a seconder, please? Somebody.
I'm happy to second.
Right, okay.
Councillor.
Right, well, I'll just read out the names, and if you all agree, then just say I agree. Anyone doesn't agree, say don't agree. Is that the right do? I've forgotten the other phrase now. Okay, Councillor Mark Clark.
Agree, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Agree.
Councillor Sean Cullum.
Agree.
Councillor Sandra Delamere.
Agreed, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Agreed, Chairman.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Agreed, Chairman.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Simon Lodge.
Agreed.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
Agree.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Agreed, Chairman.
Councillor Alex Wade.
Agree, Chairman.
And myself, Councillor Malcolm Wade, agree. Well, members, thank you very much. We now move on to item 11, the annual return. To receive and agree the year-end accounts, 2019 to 2020. To receive the internal audit report for 2019 to 2020. And under that, there is to receive and agree for the chairman to authorise. So you're going to agree something else in a minute. The annual government statement 2019-20, section 1 of the annual government's accountability return, and the accounting statements 2019 to 2020, section 2 of the annual governance and accountability return. Officers, do you want to make any comments on that, say anything, please?
Yeah, if I can just lead on it, please, Chairman. Firstly, I just want to say all credit needs to go to Beverly, your finance officer, and to Sean that have put this together. I can't take any credit for this whatsoever. But it's a very good report that they've produced, showing your balance sheet and your income and expenditure, leading down to your final balances of your council. The report then gets overseen by an internal auditor. Even though they're internal, they're external. But throughout the year, they will come in and they will do some testing analysis of all the accounts. And then they will question the officers. And in all fairness to Beverly, because they were absent from a clerk, I believe Beverly's never done an actual year end as such before, and she's picked that up tremendously. And so then, therefore, they then produce an internal report for you to see, which is a very positive report going through there. And then from that report, we have to put the year-end figures into the sheet that you see there with all the figures on it, from last year's figures to this year's figures. And the council need to, the page 99 where there's all the ticks, the council just need to affirm that they agree with all those statements, and that's what you're actually asking the chairman to sign, that the council agree that we meet all those control measures, and that you're then happy for us to send this set of accounts off to the external audit.
Thank you. Right, members, any comments on the documentation, which I know you'll all have read and inwardly digested? I take it that's a no then. You're all quite happy with that? Okay, right, well, could you just say out, Tracy, say out the form of words that we need to vote on, please, and we'll do a vote on it.
Yeah, well, really, have members actually gone down the list of numbers 1 to number 9 on page 99, and you're all happy with that?
This is at page 99, so I've got a different book. Yeah. But I've looked at it. Yeah. Everybody look at page 99. I'm certainly happy with it. But what's about everyone else? Alex, did you want to say something?
Hang on. Yes, just purely again to reiterate the comments by the clerk, to say thank you very much to Beverly and Sean in particular for their incredible hard work. I've just noticed the door spookily opening behind you, Chairman. It's an incredible bit of hard work, and to get such positive feedback and agreement from your audit officer is incredibly positive, and it made for a very welcome read, this report. So thank you very much for your hard work. And if all councillors agree, I would propose that we accept all 9 in block if that is indeed agreed.
Okay.
I'll seconder for that suggestion, please.
I'll second
Verbally.
that, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, right. So we've got an agreement to set them all on block. To receive and agree to authorise, that is the annual governance statement. That's section 1. So that's section 1, which is little. So if you go to the agenda, we've received it and agreed it to receive the internal report, which is B. C, little 1, to the annual governance to receive and agree for the chairman to authorise the annual governance statement 2019, section 1. Right, members, I would like you to say agree or not agree. If so, Councillor Mark Clark.
Agree, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Agree.
Councillor Sean Cullen.
Agree.
Councillor Sandra Delamaire.
Agree.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Agree.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
Agree, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Simon Lodge.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Alex Wade. Councillor Alex Wade. He's disappeared.
I said agree, Chairman. I thought
Well, you were muted. I didn't hear you. And myself, I agree with it. Now, don't go anybody. Now, the next one is to receive and agree for the chairman to authorise the accounting statements 2019 to 2020, section 2 of the annual governance and accountability report, which is the second part of this weighty tome. Okay, can I have a proposer to accept and agree that, please?
I would like to propose that, Chairman.
Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay. Right, well, we'll just repeat this exercise. Councillor Mark Clark.
So agree, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Agree, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Sean Cullen.
Agreed, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Sandra Delamaire.
Agreed, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Agreed.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Agreed, Chairman.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
Agreed, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Simon Lodge.
Agreed.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
Agree.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Agreed.
Councillor Alex Wade.
Agreed, Chairman.
And myself, Councillor McElroy, agree. And I can only echo the words that Alex said. This is all credit to Beverly and Sean. You know, this is quite a big job, and Beverly's not done it before, and they've worked, I know, under difficult personal and the circumstances because of the virus. You know, all credit to you both. Thank you very much. That is excellent work. We now come to item 12, to receive an update on the closure of the play areas and to consider a way forward. And I've had a message from Mark here.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just to say we've got a member of the public. I just wonder whether I could propose the suspension of standing orders to hear from her, if that's at all possible, if I have a seconder to that.
Okay, I've got some more RTSs here, but can I have a seconder for that?
I'll second.
Okay, now I've got Alex Wade as an RTS. All right, Matthew Kitcher as an RTS. Are these old ones? Are they? Okay. Yeah, it's like a game with lots of. Okay, right. Well, if we receive the report from the officers and then we ask a member of the public to speak, is that an appropriate way forward? Everybody happy with that? You all right with that, Leanne? Brilliant.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, so Sean, we'd like to introduce the report.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just to remind you, following the government's guidance or the government's decision that play areas could open if it was safe to do so, there was a wide range of interpretations on that, even in the water side. You know, we've got neighbouring councils that haven't opened. We've got other councils that have opened and not deep cleaning. There's other councils that are doing regular cleaning. So members quite rightly took the decision here, I think, is they would only open when it was deemed safe to do so. One of the factors in coming to that conclusion was the infection rates across the New Forest. I have the latest figures here, and they've been passed to me by Malcolm, and I've sourced a second on that, so they are confirmed. Okay. The news I've got is the New Forest has seen no changes within the last couple of weeks. So the new case is standing at 1.7 per 100,000 people of the population. I think the important thing to note there is that the level is constant, and within Hampshire, it's looking quite good. So based on that, I've spoken to Tracy at length because Tracy had the same scenario at her council. She's come up with a plan for her council. This is based partly on that and partly on some local knowledge. So if members deem it safe to do so at this point, I briefly outline how I think we could do it based on our staffing levels, and which can be adapted if members choose. Okay, I did send out an email earlier this week which gave an update on the method. Nothing's changed in that respect. So basically, if members would like to, we are in a position to open 4 of our play areas this Friday. And the restriction really is staffing levels. We've got staff on holiday and we're very busy with the seasonal work, blah, blah, blah. And then there is the option, if members choose, to open the further 3 play areas at a later date.
Okay, that's that bit, Sean. Right, now I've got a couple of members who want to speak. What I'd like to do is ask Leanne Trimble to have her say for next, and then I'll take the members who've got Alex and Matthew who wanted to speak. Leanne, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I guess all I have to say is I'm really, really grateful. We use the parks a lot, and so I'm really, really pleased that some of them are going to be opening. And I guess my only additional comment would be, I appreciate there's lots of factors why you've opened them when they are. I think maybe as a kind of feedback, telling those or communicating those factors to the community, I think would reassure people, I guess, and give people a bit more understanding as to why they're closed. But I'm really, really, really happy that they're going to be open on Friday.
Okay, right, thank you. Thank you very much. Councillor Alex Wade.
Yes, thank you very much for bringing me in, Chairman. I have to echo what Leanne has said, actually. I think we made the right decision on the day. At the beginning of July, I think the government's guidance was effectively saying it was inconsistent. It asked a lot of parish councils and town councils who manage parks with very limited resources and budgets, and with a lot of caution. Since then, we have had many more areas that have opened and have been accessible by all areas of the public. And it seems to me the only people who were being impacted were the youngest of our residents, arguably those who benefit most from our play areas for their physical and mental health, and particularly now we've hit the school holidays where they will be all out with their parents looking for stuff to do. Unfortunately, in this very challenging time, and I speak to someone who was made furloughed and made redundant as part of this situation, there are families who can't afford to go to Leap, there are families who can't afford to go to Exbury and other areas, and the parks have a huge positive impact on them. Now, if every other neighbouring community is opening them and doing similar approaches to it, I mean, I visited Romsey, and they are a bigger council, I believe a bigger budget than us, and they weren't doing, they only had a sign up and no cleaning to my understanding. Then I think it's the right thing to do to now open. We've definitely made the right decision at the beginning. Arguably, we probably should have communicated our core reasons more regularly, as I have had some feedback from young families, mums, dads, grandmas, and it's trying to explain to the little ones that why can't I go in there when I've seen the bigger kids who've gone in. Again, an issue that we have raised with the local community safety, and obviously not something we adhere to, but as councillors, I think we'll be making the right call by reopening them today. I'm not challenging the original decision, but I think they should be open. As I think everyone else has their place of interest. People can go to the shops, they can go to the public houses, they can go to the cafes. parks is the place for our younger residents, and they deserve the opportunity to enjoy the releasing of lockdown rules. So I think we should follow the rules set by the clerk. We should open them. I think some regular cleaning, sensible, practical cleaning based on our resources. I would like clarification in public of which parks will be open this Friday, and confirm an agreed date for the second round of parks, probably a week after, in my view. That's all I have to say on the matter. And I would like to thank all the officers and the staff for their efforts in maintaining it. And remember that any feedback on this, positive or negative, goes to the councillors, not our brilliant staff. Thank you.
Right, I've got Councillor Matthew Kitcher now would like to speak, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to reiterate Alex's point on the cleansing. I think it'd be a really good idea that if parks do open, that they should be cleaned or maintained at least once a week. However, I do not support this council reopening them, and tonight I will be abstaining from this vote due to I do not feel it is my duty to. I appreciate the numbers are relatively low, but I do not feel it is my duty to make a decision on such a vital thing due to coronavirus. I think that one of the worst affected is younger people, and my reasons for saying this is that 9 times out of 10 that when a younger person contracts the virus, we are seeing more so, other than ever, that they are not displaying any symptoms, and that when they do not display any symptoms, they are going home and they are going to school, and they are going home, they are hugging parents, and they are hugging great aunts, granddads, nans and uncles, and then they're the ones that are being worst affected because they're the ones that have got the underlying health issues and have got the things that are wrong with them that puts them in a high risk category. So tonight, I am sorry, Council, but I will be abstaining from this vote. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Mark Clark, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You probably wouldn't be surprised from the communications panel. It's about how we transmit and communicate both the risks of using the equipment and making sure that parents at least have some sanitizers or some equipment they can make sure that their own children are clean from it, because we can't obviously guarantee that every piece of equipment is clean. And just the kind of signage that we perhaps can work with the officers to produce to make it clear about the risks anybody using the equipment have if we decide to reopen.
Okay, Councillor Philip Dowd actually is next.
Yes, Chairman. I think we do have to be mindful. I think it's the right thing to do to reopen the 4 main parks. We do know that there are signs that there may be a further spike or an increase, and so I think if we make that decision, we still have to be in a position where we review on a regular basis whether to open further parks or whether to shut the parks again if it's shown that this is not a good thing to do because of contraction of C19. So I think whatever happens, we need to be vigilant and we need to review on a regular basis. Thank you.
Okay. I agree that we should actually open them now. It was right we took the decision not to open them at the beginning, and I think we need to recognise that we're in a situation none of us have ever lived for before. There's no guidebook on what you do. The guidance we had from the government was at best interesting, but not really practical, as many of their guidances are, and open to interpretation. The driver for me, and I know it is for the rest of you, and I have a lot of sympathy with Councillor Kitcher, is the safety of our residents, their young ones, the parents, and their older ones. And we're in a situation we've never been through before, so we are finding our way through it. And a lot of the things we do, because the guidance is so variable, we have to sort of use common sense in how we interpret and act on it. So it's right. We went and saw our infection rate. There's a logic to that. And I think Mark is right. We need to, and Leanne was right. We need to explain to people, because we did it for their own safety. Let's give it a couple of weeks, because it's an incubation period is 2 weeks. We reduced a bit longer than that now, isn't it? He reduced the lockdown. Everybody went out, and it's not spiked. And I suspect the reality of this. This is just a personal view. I am not a virologist, but this particular type of condition will probably become worse in the winter. In the summer, where we are now, it's probably relatively safe. So Councillor Dowd's point about reviewing it, I think, is absolutely right. I would actually like to open all of them, because the children are in different areas, and why drag somebody from Wyeth or Hythe to the other when they've got a play park quite close to them? One of the issues that was raised, and I'm sure you all read what Sean brilliantly put together to send out to us, there's a cost to this, because at the moment in the summer we have to do the cleaning in overtime. However, I'm not sure he said it was about a month or 6 weeks, Sean.
Yeah.
The work pattern for our team will change, and we'll be able to do the cleaning actually in normal hours, so there won't be an added cost to it. So cleaning it once a day, we definitely need to get once a week, sorry, yeah, my apologies. Once a week, get some appropriate signage, show that that parents and children see it, take the sanitizer, the guidance that we should give them to protect them, and you know, we also need to communicate why we did it and now that we're changing it, and I believe that in the thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, you sent round, we can open the 4 big ones on Friday and the rest of them next week. Was that right?
Yeah, I think, Chairman, would it be just me briefly to overview how we're going to open up for Leanne's benefit?
Yes, please, if you could.
Very brief. What I've suggested, Leanne, to the council, and it looks like they're going to agree, is on Friday we will aim to open Ewart Recreation Ground, Forest Front Open Space, Orchard Wild Ground, which is also known as Cosworth Drive, which is down in Dibden, and Nodes Way play area. We've chosen them because they're a good geographical spread over the parish, and they're probably our biggest play areas. Okay, so what we will do before Friday opening is we will carry out a deep clean. So everything will be sanitised, all the touches. We'll put appropriate signage up, basically saying we're going to clean it once a week, but the responsibility really lies to the parents. Okay, and there'll be some social distancing requirements contained within the signage. We will put that up on the website, and I will ask Mark, Councillor Clark, right now is, Mark, are you okay to liaise with Helen so we can get a proper communication statement out on the website?
Yeah, absolutely. There's some great examples out there. I think Alex Wade shared one with us a little while ago with I think it was from Three Rivers, that you know, this is always good for plagiarism. Let's see what we can find.
Thank you, Mark.
And we can put it on social media as well, can't we? So everybody knows.
And that leaves us 3 play areas then, Leanne, which are Shaw Road, which is being used anyway, if the truth be told, because we don't fence that one, so it's being used. Bell Gardens, which is a small toddlers type play area, not very well used, but there is a need. And Fletcher Close play area, absolutely, absolutely. So if members agree, I would get the 4 big ones open Friday morning, and then by midweek of the following week, if members choose, then we can open the other 3 following a deep clean, and from then on we will go to a weekly deep clean, which will sanitize everything. That will be on top of the daily cleans that we do for litter and safety checks. So it is an increased workload and expense for the council, but I think it's definitely worth it at this point.
Leanne, may I ask you what part of Hythe and Dibden you live in?
I live in Fursdale Gardens.
Okay.
So
you're within striking distance.
Absolutely. That'll do me.
Okay, right. Well, members, as we voted to keep them closed, it's appropriate that we vote to reopen them. Just, Alex, are you going to give a proposition, please?
Well, no, it was firstly to ask a question to
Sean.
With the opening of the parks, is it worth sharing any changes or any social distancing measures? For example, are we going to be removing one swing next to the other? For example, are any of those considerations have they put in place? And is that something that we'd like to share in public session in any of the parks? I'm thinking predominantly where you've got 2 swings close to each other, or is that no longer an issue? What will residents and their children see when they go into the parks? It's different from pre-COVID effectively.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, social distance requirements are still required part of the guidelines. So what we have done, or we will do, is if there's a bank of 4 swings, 2 will come out and they will leave one at either end. The signage that we've prepared asks only a member of a household uses a particular piece of play equipment at a time, that the parents use sanitizer on their children. I think every other piece of play equipment that we have, it'll all be used, but you may find swings gone in certain places to maintain that social distancing.
Can I ask Tracy a question? Did you do that in your other council?
Yeah.
You remove swings and that. Funny, because when I was in, I happened to visit Test Valley today, and we walked through a park, and I don't think they did that. But no, I've got no problem with us doing it. I just didn't think they did. Not everyone did it.
Not every council has done that, but many councils have taken the view that you'll have the children sat on the swings, and then it's more protection for the adults, because you inevitably have the adults pushing the swings.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Okay, so sounds like a good plan. Okay, so is somebody going to give me a proposition then, based on what Sean has said?
Chairman, just quickly, I had a RTS, sorry.
Yeah.
It was just a quick question to you and this council that it's clear to see that this is going to be voted forward, but I would just like confidence in yourselves that should we see a spike in coronavirus cases, that we can quickly review this and shut them if necessary.
My view in answer to your question is that it will be sensible to do that. Councillor Dowd has already said that we should be regularly reviewing this, and I suspect that we should review it. Sean, want to say something on that?
Oh, no, I didn't mean to interrupt, Malcolm. I just suggest that the powers delegated to the clerk and deputy clerk in consultation with the chairman and vice chairman.
Yeah, I think that is appropriate, and we could review it once a month, or once, at the moment probably once a month. I've got Rebecca now wanting to speak.
Actually, I was just about to suggest exactly what Sean said, because obviously part of what's happened is due to a delay between meetings, and obviously the delegation would enable quicker decision making as and when things change. So I won't repeat what Sean's already suggested.
Okay, yeah, right. Well, if you're all right with that, Philip, we'll liaise with Sean and Tracy. When's an appropriate time to do that?
But could I suggest, Mal, if circumstances change, then I can contact either of you on the day, and I'll know the response. Then I'll get the power to close, and we can publicise. But unless there's a problem, I don't see we need to constantly review it.
No,
for council.
No, I agree. We can look at it privately once a month just to check that it's going okay, and if there's an issue, then we will deal with it under delegated powers. Okay, right. So, who was going to? Did I ask somebody to give me this proposition, please?
Chairman.
Yeah.
I propose we accept Sean's recommendation on opening, cleaning, etc.
Right, that which is four big ones on Friday and the other 3 in the middle of next week. Okay.
Chairman.
Right. Okay. We're going to have a pardon? You got to second it, Alex. Okay. Right. We're going to have a vote, members. Are you ready? Agree, disagree, or abstain if that's what you want to do. Right. Councillor Mark Clark.
Agree, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Agree.
Councillor Sean Cullen.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Sandra Delamere.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
Chairman, I will vote against. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Simon Lodge.
Agree.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
Agree.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Agree, Chairman.
Councillor Alex Wade.
I agree, Chairman.
And myself, Councillor Malcolm Wade, I agree that we should do that. Okay, Leanne, that's the bit you were really interested in, wasn't it? But you're welcome to watch the rest. But I will request that we return to standing orders. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Somebody?
Seconded.
Right, I all agree with that? Everybody happy with that?
Agreed.
Right, okay. We now go to item 13, representatives and outside bodies, to consider nominating 2 representatives to serve on the board of the Hythe Peer Heritage Association. From the chair, I will propose Alan as the first one. Could I have a seconder for that, please?
I'd like to second him.
Okay, and now we need another member. Can I have a proposer and a seconder for another member, please?
Can I propose?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to propose Simon Lodge as the second person.
Alex is next in this. Yes.
I actually would like to propose Councillor Matt Kitcher, because I believe it's important to have a younger person's voice on this committee, and I think he would add something important to this committee.
Okay, well, we've got. Oh, we have another vote. Right, excellent. Can we have seconders for those two proposals?
Second, Simon, Chairman.
Okay, can I have a seconder for Matt then?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd second Matt.
Okay, right. Okay, so they're going to. We have two. So is it?
Chairman, before we move on, can I just say why?
Yeah, go on.
Simon, I'm seconding Simon because both he and I are the councillors for the ward where the pier is situated. And whilst I agree with Alex that Matthew is a very suitable person as a young person to be there, I do worry that he has already got a lot on his plate. But my main reasoning in supporting Simon is that the pier is in our ward.
Okay, Tracy, we now have three proposals for two slots. Does that mean you have to vote on all three?
Yes, you take the last proposal first, and then if it doesn't have a seconder, then that falls away. Then you take a vote on the next one.
Well, we've had seconders for all of these, so we have to have vote. Is it a three-way vote? Is that right? Is that how we do this? This isn't quite how we've done it before.
You have a proposal, and then normally you should really have an amendment to that proposal, and then you vote on the amendment first. And then you go back to the original.
Well, we've got to nominate two representatives, and we've got three candidates.
Is it a secret vote, Mr. Chairman?
Well, yeah, I can be a secret vote in a virtual meeting. Yeah, sure.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm just thinking through. That's why I've gone silent. Let me just think a minute. How you best do this, and you're not really allowed to do secret votes anymore. So you just really have to. You'll have to be brave and do it on the majority, really.
Can I make a proposal, please?
Yeah.
If it's agreed by the rest of the council, can we just name our two preferred candidates per councillor, and that is counted, and then the top two, because it's in public session? Would that be acceptable?
Sorry, I didn't quite understand that. Everybody says who their two favourite ones are.
Agreed.
I'm looking to Tracy here. She's the clerk to give us.
I would just name each councillor and then get everybody to vote per councillor, and then
okay.
Votes for each.
Many keen people on our council.
Right. Okay. So I've got to do 3 votes. Right. Okay. I got
Mr.
this.
Chairman, Sean Spencer's got his hand up to speak.
Oh yes. Sorry. I'm trying to think this through. Sean, you're muted. I did think this would be complicated.
Just can I? Good luck with this one, Chairman. But can we? Everyone's clear, so Claire can record the vote, because this is very technical now.
We're going to new territory here. I've got no, Stephanie obviously already spoken, haven't you? I'm just checking there's no RTSs I've missed before we go into this. Okay, I am going. The first candidate is Alan. As we all know, Alan has a big interest and has a lot of effort working with the ferry, which is why I proposed him. And for Alan, I would like you to say, what's the phrase for this? Sorry, this is not a normal. It's support or not. Okay, is that fair enough?
What would you say if you don't support, though? Support or
no? Yes, no.
Or agree or
agree. I'm looking at it this way. I propose Alan Fairhead to be our representative, and you can vote for yourself on this. So I'm going to go through now. I propose it. I've got a seconder, which is Stephanie. So we would like support that proposition or not support that proposition. Right? Support. Is that all right, Claire? Can you brilliant. Councillor Mark Clark.
I agree, Mr. Chairman.
He supports it. Support, please.
Support, sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Support, Chairman.
Councillor Sean Cullen.
Support, Chairman.
Councillor Sandra Delamere.
Support, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Support, Chairman.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Support, Chairman.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
I support the decision, Chairman.
Councillor Simon Lodge.
I support.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
Support.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Support.
Councillor Alex Wade.
I support.
And I myself, Councillor Malcolm Wade, support it, so that makes that one unanimous. Sandra, did you want to say something before we go to the next vote?
Well, yeah, I'm a bit unsure. Does that mean there's 2 slots, so we only get 2 votes? Thank you.
Well, you've all voted for Alan. Good point.
You're competent, councillors.
No, what we're going to the way we're going to do this is something so simple is so complicated. Is that we have the most votes for each candidate. Now, everybody voted for Alan, so Alan is one of our representatives, right? Now, we're now going to go to the next one. You can't vote for both of them. So you either vote for Simon Lodge or you vote for Matthew Kitcher, right? So it may be that if there's a majority vote for the next candidate, then the third one we don't have a vote on him because you've already voted. Does that make sense? Are you okay with that, Sandra?
Yes, thank you. Just for clarification, that was. Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. Right, now the second proposal was for Simon Lodge. Okay. This is for Simon Lodge. Councillor Mark Clark. I can't hear you.
Sadly, Simon, no, not on this occasion.
Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Support.
Councillor Sean Cullen.
Support, Chairman.
Councillor Sandra Delamere.
No, Chairman.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Support.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Support.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
On this occasion, no, Chairman.
Yeah, it's okay. Councillor Simon Lodge.
Support.
Yeah. Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
Support.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Support.
What?
Support.
Okay, I didn't hear you, sorry. Councillor Alex Wade.
I'm afraid not on this occasion.
Right. The chairman doesn't want to be disgusting, but have we got, how many votes have we got so far?
You've got to make your vote, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but I could abstain if I don't want to be the.
You're right, just vote.
But I just want to know how many we've got so far.
7 for.
Pardon?
7 in support.
Well, the 7 is support, so I can be neutral in this, because if 7 of you support Simon Lodge, that means 6 of you, or 5 of you, because I'm neutral, support Matthew. So de facto, Simon Lodge is therefore elected to be on this position. Is that okay, everybody? Is that all right, Tracy?
Yes, I think so.
Are you sure? Yeah, but you can't vote for 2 candidates for 1 position.
Yeah.
Is that right? I just want to make sure we get this right, because this is a bit more complicated than I thought it would be.
Yes.
Are you sure?
You could have everybody unanimous for Matthew, so therefore it could knock Simon out, couldn't it?
Say that again.
You could have everybody give a vote and be unanimous for Matthew, and therefore then knock Simon out.
No, Chairman, that was the whole point.
Because
point of vote. I didn't. Your sound went. I didn't get. All I heard was knock somebody out, and I thought we don't want to get to that state. No.
Can we do single transferable vote, Mr. Chairman?
Right. Yeah. But we have actually voted. But yeah. I'm so sorry to both of you two. This has been more challenging than it should be. Well, at least it'll give somebody some amusement, I'm sure, watching it. Right, can I have advice from the officers? Have we done sufficiently for this to be appropriate? Or do we need to do something else? Because, you know, it's
Depends how you play it. You can vote on all three candidates, and then the two that have the most votes are the two that go through. Or
oh, okay, all right. We'll vote. We'll vote for we got it the other way round then. Okay, that's fair enough. I'm up for that. We're going to vote for now. Going to vote for Matthew. Okay. Councillor Mark Clark.
4, Mr. Chairman.
Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Councillor Kitcher is fantastic and has a lot on his plate. I'm sure he will do a fabulous job, but on this occasion, I'm going to go with Simon. So no for Matt on this occasion.
Thank you. Councillor Sean Cullen.
Against.
Councillor Sandra Delamere.
Support.
Councillor Philip Dowd.
Against.
Councillor Alan Fairhead.
Against.
Councillor Matthew Kitcher.
Support the decision.
Yeah. Councillor Simon Lodge.
Against.
Councillor Stephanie Osborne.
Against.
Councillor Melody Roberts.
Candidates.
Against.
Councillor Alex Wade.
As I proposed him, I definitely will support.
And I am remaining neutral, abstaining from this vote altogether. Since I don't upset anybody. Right. So can I have the vote, please, Claire, on that one?
There were 4 in support.
Okay. So so does that mean that Simon Lodge is duly the representative then? Carried. Okay. In fact, Tracy, you're absolutely right. We were wrong to not to try it the other way. That was the right thing to do. Okay. Right. That was. Right, we're nearly there. Now, item 14 is summer bunting. To receive a report from the maintenance and facilities supervisor about erecting bunting in the centre of Hythe. And there is a recommendation, which we will go to when you've spoken about the report. It's on page 103. Councillor Sean Cullen, I've got you down as an RTS.
It's okay. It's the issue's been resolved over the vote.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it's looking at the votes and looking at this is quite complex. Right. Okay. The bunting members, or the report is it in here? Do you wish to say anything? Somebody?
I think Mark has just asked for the guidance, really. We put the bunting up every year.
Yeah.
This year's a bit more challenging with the social distance requirements and queuing outside of shops, so it's got to be done after hours. So basically, we seem like beggars tonight, asking for more money all the time, but what he's saying is, if you'd like the bunting, there is an additional cost both in the putting it up and taking it down. A couple of members have said to me, we need to start brightening things up a little bit, so
740 quid, isn't it?
Yeah, we can do it if you want to do it. It's up to you, members.
Okay, members, what do you want to do? Bunting or no bunting? Councillor Mark Clark, I've got you down as an RTS.
Bunting. We need a bit of cheer at this time. It's a miserable, horrible time for lots of people, and we need to cheer people up. Let's put some bunting up, for goodness sake.
Okay, what does everyone else think?
Agree.
Pardon?
I would agree. Sorry, it's my RTS.
I have an RTS, Chairman.
Okay, I know I've got Alex and then I've got Rebecca. So Alex first then, yeah.
Just very, very quickly, I think this should be the start of probably a bigger strategy and discussion for this council. We are a parish council, but what can we do to support our high street, impacted by lack of tourism numbers, by social distancing, by COVID and all sorts of other issues? What more can we do to support and work with the traders? And this is a good starting point. So I absolutely think this is a good spending of our money to help make our high street look even nicer than it already is and engaging. I think it's absolutely right we put the bunting up, but we need to have a discussion at full council and as councils and partners about what more we can do to work with traders to support them and try and engage and get people coming and shopping and supporting the local economy in Hythe, Dibden Parish and the other shopping precincts. Thank you, Chairman.
I think that's a good point, Brave. Good points, well made. Rebecca.
I was going to say exactly the same as Alex has just said. So thank you to Alex for raising that. And I certainly agree with everything he says. The last thing we want to do is remove something that is celebrating our high street and making it incredibly attractive to be there. And that's what we want to do. Keep people coming. Thank you.
Okay. Callis for Philip Dowd.
Yes, I'd also like to echo what's just been said. All the shopping areas, and I think we need to make a big noise about shopping local. Thank you.
Melody?
Yes,
Councillor Roberts?
I agree. Looking at Rebecca's background picture, it looks brilliant. So yes, the sooner the better.
Alan?
Yes, Chairman, I think we should put the bunting up. The bunting is for everyone at a small amount of cost, where we're all ready, agreed to spend more than that to clean the playgrounds for a minority. So if we can spend more than that for a minority, we can certainly spend this small amount for the majority.
Okay, yeah, right. Does anybody disagree with the fact we should put the bunting up? No, because I think it's a good idea as well, actually. I mean, I think what Mark said earlier is it's a challenging time. Let's do all we can to cheer people up. But I think we mustn't lose sight of the point Alex made about, and Philip made, about trying to encourage shopping local and developing the economic viability of our village. Who wanted to? Matthew?
Sorry, that was me. I don't necessarily disagree with putting the bunting up at all. I just think that there are some regular young people, should I say, making a nuisance. So can we just be wary that it more than likely can be torn down by them?
It's usually too high, isn't it? They don't need a ladder.
There's ways that they can get to certain positions on roofs and things. They're quite crafty and quite clever. It was just to say, just be careful.
Okay. Have we had that problem before of it being brought down, Sean?
It has come down a couple of times, but I think that was due to weather, but I may be wrong. But thank you, Matthew. If we get any problems, I'll go to Lewis, the PCSO.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we have the recommendation is members are requested to provide guidance to officers on how the council should proceed, whether to the summer bunting should be erected this year in centre of Hythe. So we're all in agreement that we put the bunting up, right?
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay. Right, members, we're now down to the final item, and it's the finance report 2020 to 21. A, to receive the bank reconciliation report for June 2020. B, to receive the accounts for payment for June 2020. C, to receive the end of Q1 variance sheet. And D, to receive the end of Q1 financial strategy. Okay, comments please. You've all seen the finance paperwork up to the usual high standard. Any comments anybody wants to make? Okay. Do we need to vote on this, Tracy?
Yeah, just to agree to know that you've received them.
All right. Is everybody happy with the finance, and we agree we don't need to vote on this? So is everybody happy? We didn't say we didn't need to vote on it, didn't you? Are everybody happy with this? Thumbs up, as they say. There you go. Use a virtual thumb or unvirtual thumb. Sandra, yeah, I think we've got a minority. Matt, you happy with the finance? Yeah, we have a overwhelming majority, including me. So that's it. That is the last item on the agenda, members. So thank you very much for your efforts tonight, and officers, thank you for your contribution and preparation of everything that you've done. It's been truly excellent, and I never realised voting for the peer heritage would be so complicated. Our apologies that mine made it worse than it was, but we did get there in the end. Thank you all. Have a nice evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.